In a land nestled beneath the shadow of the mighty SANGOLSAN, mountain of Pine Valley, lay a village once vibrant with the laughter of children and the rustle of prosperous fields. But for too many moons, a relentless drought had gripped the earth, turning fertile soil into cracked dust and shimmering rice paddies into barren expanses. The usually bustling river, which had long sustained their lives, now trickled with a mournful sigh, its stones baking under an unforgiving sun. Every day, the villagers would scan the cloudless sky, their hearts heavy with a silence born of fading hope, as the very breath of life seemed to abandon their beloved home. The elders spoke of SANGOLSAN, not merely as a mountain of stone and trees, but as the sacred dwelling of the Sanshin, the mountain spirit, a benevolent deity said to protect those who honored its sanctity. Legends whispered of the Sanshin's power to command the very elements, to bring forth life-giving rain, or temper the harsh sun. Yet, no one in living memory had ever truly seen the spirit, nor directly sought its aid, for its presence was subtle, its wisdom profound, and its tests often veiled in mystery. Now, as despair deepened, eyes turned to the towering peaks, remembering the old tales. One evening, as the last rays of sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in somber oranges and purples, Elder Park gathered the entire village. His voice, though frail with age, carried the weight of generations, cutting through the weary murmurs. He spoke of a desperate measure, a gosa ritual offering to the Sanshin, a profound plea for mercy. But this would be no ordinary offering. Inspired by an ancient text, he declared it a test of sincerity, where any villager could ascend SANGOLSAN and present what they deemed most precious, hoping to appease the spirit and bring forth the salvation they so desperately needed. Min-jun, a young man of considerable family wealth and even greater arrogance, wasted no time in publicly declaring his intentions. He boasted loudly that his offering would surely be the most splendid, proclaiming that the Sanshin, being a spirit of power, would undoubtedly favor a grand display of riches. He envisioned a towering stack of shimmering silks, rare spices imported from distant lands, and finely crafted porcelain, all symbols of his family's prosperity, which he believed would undoubtedly sway the mountain deity. His voice echoed with self-importance, oblivious to the quiet dignity of true reverence. Jin-ho felt a pang of despair. His family, like many others, their modest home was devoid of luxuries. Their fields yielded naught but dust, and even their daily meals were now scant. A humble farmer with empty hands compete with Min-jun's lavish promises? He knew the Sanshin valued sincerity above all, but doubt gnawed at him. He wandered through his desolate patch of land, his heart heavy, wondering what token, however small, could possibly convey the depth of his village's plight and his earnest plea for succor. As Jin-ho surveyed his small, dying orchard, a glint of color caught his eye amidst the parched branches of a peach tree, hidden beneath a canopy of wilted leaves. Perfect peach. It glowed with a soft, inviting blush, plump and succulent, miraculously untouched by the drought's harsh embrace. It was the only fruit his family had managed to coax from their land this season, a small miracle in itself. Jin-ho realized then that true value wasn't in quantity or cost, but in sincerity and the purity of intent. This precious peach, born of struggle and resilience, would be his offering. Before the sun had fully ascended, a procession of villagers began their ascent up the ancient paths of SANGOLSAN. Each carried their chosen offering, their hearts a mixture of hope and trepidation. with a train of servants laden with chests of treasures, strode confidently ahead, his emerald Jeogori a vivid splash against the muted forest. Jin-ho, with only his precious peach nestled carefully in his bamboo basket and a small flask of water, walked with quiet purpose, his gaze fixed on the winding trail, a silent prayer on his lips for his village. As Jin-ho ventured deeper into the mountain's embrace, the air grew cooler, and the scent of pine needles filled his lungs. He noticed an old man slumped by the side of the path, his face etched with weariness, his tattered clothes barely offering protection from the mountain's chill. Clutching a gnarled wooden staff, his frail body trembling as if battling a hidden illness. Many passers-by hurried on, their focus solely on the summit and their own offerings. But Jin-ho's kind heart felt an immediate pull of concern for the suffering elder. Not long before Jin-ho, Min-jun had also passed this very spot. His eyes were fixed firmly ahead on the glory he imagined awaiting him at the summit. He barely registered the old man, dismissing him as merely another obstacle, a fleeting shadow on his path to divine favor. His servants, burdened by their heavy load, glanced apologetically at the elder, but Min-jun merely waved a dismissive hand, urging them onward with impatient commands. In his self-absorption, he completely overlooked the quiet suffering right before his very eyes, prioritizing his ambitious goal over simple human compassion. Without a second thought, Jin-ho knelt beside the trembling elder. He offered the old man his flask of precious water, urging him to drink slowly, his voice gentle and soothing. With careful hands, Jin-ho unwrapped the single, perfect peach, his offering to the Sanshin. He broke it in half, its sweet aroma filling the mountain air, and presented the larger, juicier half to the old man, urging him to eat. It was a sacrifice of his most precious possession, given not for reward, but out of pure, unadulterated kindness and empathy for a fellow human being in need. At last, the summit of SANGOLSAN. The air was thin and crisp, the clouds seeming to drift just overhead. A clearing revealed an ancient stone altar, its surface weathered by centuries of wind and rain, surrounded by magnificent, gnarled pine trees. Min-jun had arrived first, his servants already arranging his opulent offerings. Shimmering silk cloths, fragrant spices in lacquered boxes, and gleaming silver ornaments. His face was flushed with exertion, but also with a smug anticipation, certain that his grand display would command the Sanshin's attention and favor. Jin-ho approached the altar, his steps slow but unwavering. He looked at Min-jun's impressive spread, then at the small, half-eaten peach in his hand, a tangible reminder of his act of kindness. Despite the stark contrast, he felt no shame, only a quiet resolve. With a bowed head and a heart full of earnestness, he carefully placed his remaining half-peach on a clean, flat stone beside the altar. He set down a simple bamboo cup, filled with crystal-clear mountain spring water, drawn from a nearby trickle, an offering of pure, unadulterated nature. A hush fell over the summit. Gentle gust of wind, carrying the scent of pine and fresh rain, swept through the clearing, causing the pine needles to dance. Then, from the very edge of the forest, emerged the old man Jin-ho had helped, his frail form now standing tall and radiant. Once weary, now sparkled with an otherworldly light, and his tattered clothes shimmered, transforming into a flowing robe of mist and verdant green. The gnarled staff became a vibrant branch of an ancient tree, crowned with glowing leaves. It was the Sanshin, the mountain spirit in all its majestic glory. The Sanshin's gaze, profound and all-knowing, first rested upon Min-jun's lavish offerings. Like the rustle of ancient pines, "You brought me riches, boy, but your heart is barren. You sought to buy my favor with material wealth, yet you passed by suffering on my very path, caring only for your ambition." A faint, shimmering mist rose from Min-jun's offerings, turning them dull and lifeless. The silks lost their sheen. The spices turned to dust, and the porcelain cracked, crumbling to naught before their astonished eyes. The Sanshin's luminous gaze turned to Jin-ho. The spirit's face softened, knowing smile gracing its lips. "And you, young one," the voice filled with warmth, "you brought me a half-eaten fruit and a cup of simple water. Your heart is full of compassion and generosity. You saw a soul in need and offered your most precious possession, not knowing it was a test, but acting purely from goodness." As the Sanshin spoke, Jin-Ho's humble peach half-pulsed with a warm, golden light, and the simple mountain water shimmered with an ethereal glow. With a final, majestic gesture, the Sanshin raised its staff towards the heavens. Dark clouds, unseen moments before, swirling with mystical energy. A deep rumble echoed through the mountains, not of thunder, but of ancient power stirring. Then, the first gentle drops of rain began to fall, soft and tender, caressing the parched earth, quickly turning into a steady, life-giving downpour. The mountain itself seemed to sigh in relief, its trees shimmering with newfound vitality, and a vibrant, hopeful energy enveloped the entire summit. The life-giving rain poured from the heavens not just on SANGOLSAN, but across the entire valley, reaching every parched field and dry riverbed. Within, the trickling stream swelled into a rushing river, its waters clean and abundant. The withered crops in the fields began to unfurl, their leaves stretching towards the sky, visibly regaining their vibrant green hue. The village, once steeped in despair, was reborn, cleansed by the spirit's blessing. Laughter, long absent, now rang out from every home, echoing through the revitalized landscape. As for Min-jun, the Sanshin's judgment was clear. While the mountain's blessing brought life to the village, Min-jun found his family's lands curiously untouched by the rain, remaining as parched and barren as before. His once prized possessions, symbols of his shallow arrogance, continued to crumble, a constant reminder of his misguided priorities. He watched, humbled and shamed, as prosperity returned to the villagers he had disdained. His wealth, without a foundation of compassion, proved worthless, serving as a stark lesson for all who witnessed his fall from grace. Jin-ho, however, found his small peach orchard blooming with an unprecedented vitality, yielding fruit sweeter and more abundant than ever before. The villagers, witnessing his selfless act and the Sanshin's divine intervention, hailed him not as a hero, but as a testament to the power of genuine kindness. Jin-ho, ever humble, continued his diligent work, sharing his newfound abundance with all who needed it. He became a quiet leader, his actions speaking louder than any boast, his life a living example of the mountain spirit's true teaching. And so, the legend of the mountain spirit's test became a timeless tale whispered through generations, a gentle reminder that true value lies not in the size of one's possessions, but in the sincerity of one's heart. The Sanshin had taught them that acts of kindness, compassion, and humility, even the smallest ones, held far greater power than any display of wealth or ambition. The villagers of SANGOLSAN prospered once more, forever guided by the quiet wisdom of a humble young man and the profound lesson bestowed by the majestic mountain spirit. We hope you enjoyed this heartwarming journey into Korean folklore. If Jin-Ho's kindness resonated with you, please consider giving this video a like, sharing it with friends, and subscribing to our channel for more tales of wisdom and wonder. Until next time, may your path be guided by a compassionate heart.